Alrighty, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've been anxiously waiting for the Let's Talk Broncos live stream to start here, and I wanted to welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Let's Talk Broncos, brought to you by Mile High Sports. You can follow us on Twitter at Mile High Sports, the LTB Podcast, Bree0322, JR Drafts, and at Zach_Seegers. You can find all of Zach and Joey's excellent writing on milehighsports.com, and you can listen to any of our previous episodes on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our new YouTube channel. If Facebook or Instagram is your thing too, you can find us there too. Real quickly, before we get started, Joey and Zach, how are you both doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I had a good day. I'm excited for this, for the upcoming events in this podcast. I've really prepped for it. I got all my notes in, everything like that. I'm just excited. We have a really good guest on today.
Yeah, same. Can't wait to talk to Calvin, and excited to be doing this.
Awesome. I want to remind everybody watching on Twitter that if you want to jump on over to the YouTube stream, which is linked in the thread, you can do so to get your questions and comments highlighted on the screen. And most importantly, I do want to introduce, and I don't want to waste a second more, as we have our very special guest waiting for us, formerly undrafted and now entering his fourth year in the league with the Denver Broncos. There's no doubt he's been putting in the work for the 2022 season and silencing any of the critics. We couldn't be more thrilled to welcome number 76 for your Denver Broncos, Calvin Anderson, to the show.
Yeah, right. Hey, Calvin, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm impressed. This was a great introduction, man. I feel flattered.
No, we're happy to have you on.
Yeah, no doubt, guys.
Yeah.
Before we went live, you were talking about how excited you were about off-season OTAs and practices and all of that's been going on. One, thank you for taking the time to join us because I know you're a busy guy. But how has off-season been? How has OTAs been and practice been, and more specifically, field day?
Yeah, OTA has been it's been crazy. Obviously, it was all highlighted. The offseason was all highlighted by finding out that we had a new coach, then finding out that we had new quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm excited about Russ, man. But yeah, OTA has been it's been good. We have a brand new offense, so a lot of installation, a lot of gelling with the guys, and trying to get a sense of what our identity is going to be this year. So, I'm excited, and obviously the field day was good. Nobody will tell you this in the media, but we had a basketball competition. We were playing knockout, and you guys are also talking to the 8-time champion of knockouts. Nobody else came close to 8 championships. I think the next highest was 3. Brett Rippon had 3, so shout out Brett. But I was standing lonely on the king's throne at knockout today.
Hey, there you go.
We wanted to get into the field day stuff, actually. Was there, so I guess that was the event you were particularly good at. Was there an event you were struggling in, or an event that someone else was dominating, a different performance that stood out to you out there?
Yeah, so we also had some laser tag, and there was some cornhole being played. Dalton and Jo Coach Outen were.
Give it 1 second.
Oh no, I think we might have lost.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
Sorry, just reloaded real quick.
You were talking about Coach Outen.
Yeah. So Coach Outen and Dalton were dominating pretty well on the cornhole. So me and Garrett were playing against them, and that didn't go very well. So we got to buy one and get to training so we can come back and do something better in training camp.
Yeah. Are you aware of how big of a controversy this field day has become on Twitter?
I'm not, but I don't doubt how big it could become on Twitter. So that doesn't surprise me at all, actually.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
To fill you in, then it's become, from our perspective, I don't want to give you a leading answer. I think it's pretty silly, but there's been this drama about how dare they spend this last day of OTAs rather than practicing, playing knockout and whatnot. and how this is a terrible omen for the upcoming season. Do you would you agree that that's silly, or do you think, no, this is the dark truth that we need to dive into with the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I guess that maybe the Twitter faithful are just not aware of how hard we've been working.
Yeah.
No,
And it's a
don't think
minority. And most people are all for it. I want to be clear. Most of Broncos country is behind you guys, but there's, oh no, we lost him again. There are, I think, as the people listening know, a vocal minority of some characters. But most of Broncos country has your back. Was what I was saying.
That's good to hear. Shout out Broncos country. Yeah, we've been working hard, man. I'm happy that we spent today not just taking a day off, but we also spent today building camaraderie. And again, it was another opportunity for us to collectivize in teams and work together. So I don't see it as a legitimate day off. I think we were still actually doing things that would help the team.
100%. That team come out, everyone getting along and stuff like that. That's a huge part. It's a team sport, right? The ultimate team sport, football. That stuff, everyone getting along, making sure everyone has fun. That's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get any further into this interview, I did want to know if I'm supposed to reference you as King Boost. I saw that nickname that you used to have. Am I supposed to call you that the rest of this interview?
It's been a long time since I've been referred to as King Boost. That was actually a reference to we had this stupid inside joke a long time ago, me and some of my friends, about like the idea that I would always like hyperbolize things initially. Like I would kind of make them seem like they were bigger than they were. So that's where the boost came from. And then obviously they called me King Boost because this is my time at Rice. So this is way back in the day. But no more King Boost. Just you could just refer to me as Calvin Conda 76, or just maybe just throw me a shush on it. Those all work.
So going to the hyperbolizing, we also saw that it's reported you can solve a Rubik's Cube behind your back in 19 seconds. That's true. That's not hyperbole.
No hyperbole. That's actually true.
Wow.
That's remarkably
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, right.
What's more difficult, that or blocking Joey Bosa?
Actually, blocking Joey Bosa is, I think, significantly harder than solving skills. I'm used to it by now, so it's like kind of second nature to me. Yeah. I don't think that anybody comes to the point in their life where they feel like blocking Joey Bosa is second nature.
That's hilarious. Okay, another controversy last year, at least for us fans sitting on that training camp hill, was no music at training camp. So I'm curious to you, right? Is this also something felt with the players? Like do you guys like this music now that we're hearing about?
Yeah, I love the music, and I think particularly I love the music selection, because Coach Hackett's got a pretty good selection of music. I need to get added to some of his playlists. He's got a jamming out there. So the music helps us, man. It's like we all listen to music in pregame. All of us do. You talk to any of the guys, most of the guys do. Right. So it helps us. You know what I mean? It gets the juices flowing, gets you hyped up. 100%. So I am particularly pleased with the music selection. Shout out Coach Hackett.
Well, you answered my follow-up. I was about to ask how Hackett's playlist is. You love to hear it.
It's fire. It's not what you. It's fire. It sneaks up on you, and then it's like, oh wait, these are some bangers. It's got old school, new school, all that.
Oh, there you go.
Who's the teammate you're giving the aux to last? The guy who you want to avoid at all costs, or most want to give it to.
The guy I would give the aux to last. Okay, well, I'll answer who I would give it to first. I would probably give the aux to. I gotta eliminate my bias. I'm not gonna give it to an O lineman. I'd probably give the aux to Kareem or Tim, like somebody I could trust. Is like, okay, they're gonna try to get a feel of how the team's feeling, and they're gonna try to play something that's in line with that. I think both of them can handle that. I would not give the aux to Quinn Bailey. I wouldn't give the aux to. I probably wouldn't give the aux to Dalton. No diss, but Dalton's real focused on his country.
Yeah.
And his country. I might. Who else I'd probably give the aux to is Garrett. I think people think Garrett. I don't know. People think a lot of things about Garrett, but one thing people might not know is that he has actually a pretty good and eclectic music taste. It's pretty diverse. He listens to like reggae. He listens to hip hop. He listens to he listens to a lot of stuff. He even listens to Afro beats, which you wouldn't expect that, but he does.
You
So
wouldn't.
I would trust Garrett with the Ox.
It sounds like the energy is just palpable out there with your new teammates and the new coach and the new era of the Denver Broncos. Can you tell me about what you're experiencing that maybe is different than last season? I know we want to move on and move forward, but how much does the energy surrounding your new teammates, Russell Wilson, and in the entirety of the roster that's amassed right now, and what it feels like, and your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the energy is. I'm glad to hear it. It's infectious for us too. So, obviously that's top down. And when you're starting with Coach Hackett's bringing energy and juice every single day. And when you have somebody who's getting in front of us, talking to the team meeting, and he's got the energy that he's telling us he wants us to have, then it's much easier for us to match that every day. So not just days when you're feeling it, but even when you come in, you might be tired or something. Coach Hackett's up there bouncing around like ready to get to action. You know what I mean? So he's the leader, and that's the guy he's the guy that we're playing for. So, that it makes it much more easy to go out on that practice field and try to give it your all when you see he's out there running around with the same type of juice he's asking us to have. So, I think all of us love that, and I think there's no question that it's going to be better for our play on the field, because I have no question that he's going to be out there screaming, jumping, and being just as in the game as we are. And so, that's infectious for players, because it's an emotional game, as you all know. And sometimes you try to take the emotion out of it so you can be consistent. But I think that when you have somebody who's juicing you up, who's using the emotions in a positive way, then has a positive effect on the team. I will say this too. I think that having Russ in the building is infectious, because Russ is like the stock example of a competitor. Anything he does, we were playing basketball today, and he's just, anything he does, he wants to win. And it's like you feed off of that. Like, especially as offensive line, you see the guy you're blocking for, he's like doing anything he can, looking at anything he can, thinking about anything he can in order to help us win and find a way to win. So, that's infectious. And I think when that does bleed out of football into the other areas of our life, like even today when we're playing basketball, or, when we're trying to do community service things, like just that you're trying to win everything you do. And I think that when that comes from the two leaders, the head coach and the quarterback, then that stuff is infectious, man. So that's been a huge difference, and we all benefited from it.
That's awesome to hear, man. You love to hear it. I know all Broncos country is feeling the same way about that. Now, I have a little more of a football-specific question for you. So, I mean, before we started Let's Talk Broncos, Zach and I had like this whole draft podcast where we went into details about like all these prospects and stuff like that. I am curious because there's a lot of fans thinking that, why can't this left tackle just play right tackle? And you're one of the few that was a swing, right? So you played left and right. How is the difference? Like, is there that big of a difference from playing left and right tackle?
Okay, yeah. So there's a couple layers. So first layer is that usually as you grow into playing football, like from the high school level and the collegiate level, you're playing one side, and a lot of coaches don't make you flip. A lot of high school and college coaches don't let you flip. Not don't let you, but they won't make you flip. And usually that's because you're the most talented guy. So you're going to play at whatever position you're most comfortable with. So then you don't develop the skills at the other side. And then when you do have to move over, you've never done it. It's like flipping your body. It's like all of a sudden starting to use your left hand. So that's one thing. But then also I think there's different skill sets you develop when you're trying to play both tackles, or it's probably applicable to both guards as well. But specifically talking about the both tackles, when you're just moving over, you have to now push off of a different foot. You got to punch with a different hand. You got to look with a different eye. Everything it's like subtle things too. And I think all those things amalgamate to make sort of a big issue if you've never trained at the other side. So, I benefited greatly from as soon as I got to Denver and started for the Broncos. Mike Munchak was having me both sides, and he was teaching me like that you need to learn each specific skill set from both sides, because you might not be as fast pushing off one of your legs, but you might be stronger with that outside hand. So then you tailor your game at that side of the line to whatever your strengths are. So having that experience early in my career really helped me, and so now I feel like okay, I have an identity on both sides of the ball. If you're talking about right and left tackle, I know what I'm going to do when I'm at left and what I'm going to do at right. So it's not as easy as just flip over there and play it. It's definitely not, but I think it's something that all tackles could benefit from learning, just so you know how your body functions and what your aptitudes are. So,
sure. Right. Well, you really answered that one. That's the everlong question on Twitter right now. Is
Oh yeah,
people just wanting to move players around like it's a Madden video game or something like that. It's kind of crazy. So it is impressive that you're able to play both sides.
I'm curious. You talked about how transformative adding Russ has been, and I think everyone's gonna see that on Sunday. What do you think is another apparent change to the offense that the average fan will be able to pick up on Sunday? Someone who might not know what a zone blocking technique is or something.
Yeah. So I think what you'll see, what you guys will, I mean, if you guys end up coming to training camp, or if the first time you see it's on game day, and when the season starts, you'll see it then too. The schematic change makes the flow of the offense look much faster. So it doesn't look like slow. I don't know what to compare it to, but it just doesn't look slow. Everything looks like it's happening really fast. And so, from the offensive linemen to the receivers, everything seems like it's happening really fast. And so I think that's going to benefit us moving to this outside zone system, is that everything is fast. So everything's based off of this run fast, get off the ball type energy. So, I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And then, Russ is very mobile. So he's going to be able to work off of that too, and use the effects that has on the defense to his benefit. So, I think it does work really well for somebody who's as mobile as Russ is.
Yeah. I also think kind of along that point, what is it like facing Evero's defense in practice? Of course, it's kind of off that Fangio tree, the defensive craze that's sweeping the NFL right now. What is it? How is it different facing Evero's defense in practice?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we have a lot of similar personnel that you get to know really well, right? So then, when you see these guys kind of fitting into a new scheme, and I think it's hard to separate the differences you see in scheme, and separate them from the individuals and the players that and how they play. So, for example, if you got Chubb as an outside linebacker rusher, you develop a sense of how. You guys there? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. You broke
Hello.
up for a second.
Can you hear us, Calvin?
Hello.
Oh no, he can't hear us.
Calvin.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
We got you back. Sorry, Calvin.
Okay.
Yeah, he's back.
Sorry, I don't know why it was cutting out, but anyway, sorry. I was talking about Chubb. So like, if you have Chubb as an outside linebacker rusher, right, you get a sense of how he rushes and who he is as a player. And I think they might be the best people to answer like what it's like changing into that new system. For us, I think we always have the same responsibilities. Our responsibilities are protect the quarterback and create running lanes for the running backs. And so we're always doing that no matter what the defense is. And our training is based on seeing all different types of defenses. So, with the exception of maybe safety rotation, all of our stuff is pretty standard when it comes to, okay, we identify a front and we put it into its specific boxes. And then here's how we block all these specific boxes, So I think you would have to really get into the flow of an entire game to understand like how the defensive scheme, at least from an offensive lineman's perspective, how the scheme is different than another scheme. Because for us, we have the same goals, which is we got to protect Russ and we got to create running lanes for Mel and Boone and Javante.
Okay, if we're talking a little bit about defense here, this is a question here for you. I'm wondering, did you have a welcome to the NFL moment when you first joined? Was there what was that first player or that first moment you remember? It's like, dang, this is not college.
Yeah, 100%. So the first day I got to Denver, when I signed in 2019, I came out to practice, and I hadn't been to that. I went through one off season, and then this was like week 4 or 5 of the regular season, and I come out to practice, and as a rookie, I look across the line, I'm like, and I'd never met Von before, but I look across the line, I'm like, oh, that's Von Miller right there, like, yo, what? That's 5'8", like. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I don't like, this is not meet Vaughn and say what's up and like have a fan moment. This is like, I got to block this dude all day in practice. Like, what? I remember thinking like, this is insane. So, yeah, that was my moment for sure. At least like the first time that I actually felt like that. I had another moment in like the regular season playing, actually, like when I played my first game at the Raiders.
Yeah.
But I think that was the moment where I was like, yo, this is not any other level. This is like the highest level. This is like Vaughn, I still think to this day is probably the best in his position. I know that's going to be a big argument and debate and stuff. I don't want to get into it, but I think that Vaughn is the best I've ever seen, at least skill set wise, at his position. So it was a
Hey, man.
huge moment for me. I was like, dang, that's Vaughn Miller right there.
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of Broncos fans would agree with you there. I think you got them. I don't think you're gonna get much of disagreement from this chat about about Von Miller.
Support on that one. I like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vaughn's a good dude.
I want to ask you really, really quick. Coming together as a team and the new energy that Hackett's bringing, how do you balance this kind of coming together as a new unit with a lot of new pieces on that offensive line, while also embracing the, competition of training camp and fighting for a job? And how do you balance that competitive aspect with the cooperative aspect at the same time?
Yeah, this is a good question. So this is something I think I've learned. I probably started to learn in my first year, and then my second year, I think I got an understanding of how it works. When you're in the offensive line room, it's always going to be we always have to work together. So it's always the best offensive lines are cohesive, and so you can't be like, yeah, I'm a star offensive line player. That doesn't work for us, because we have to work as all five, and if we aren't working in sync all five, then we are failing. So I think what I learned early on is that we have this culture in our room. And it's in our room specifically, and also in offensive line rooms in general in the NFL, that, we're all working kind of together to help each other. And so it seems counterintuitive, right? Because then if you have position battles and, you're competing for a spot, then you're wondering, well, how does that work into that? But I think that the mentality is that we're all still trying to push each other to be better, because the best players will play. And the only benefit the team will have from all these competitions going on is if the best player is produced and the best play is produced. And
Right.
so pushing each other to be better is the only way to actually help the team. So if the guy who's not the best if the guy who's not the best is playing, then we are not helping the team. So I think you learn early on, it's like we're pushing for the entire unit to get better, because we want the best five guys to be on the field at one time. And the culture of the offensive line room is very unique. It's like, I've never been a part of an offensive line room that doesn't feel like that. It's never been like people are trying to backstab you and undercut you. That's just not how it is. And maybe it's because we're at the highest level. And I think at the highest level, you want to be the best person. You don't want to be the guy who's second best and ends up playing. That no competitor will feel happy about that. So the culture, I think, the culture deals with that itself, I would say, Zach. I think that the culture of the offensive line room is such that the best five guys got to get on the field. And so you want to be one of those five. It's not that you're trying to undercut somebody else from getting there. You just want to be one of those five.
Exactly. Hey, and for a versatile tackle like you, that helps, right? You get that's when you're versatile, you can play left or right. It gives you a little more of an opportunity there, especially if you are one of those best five. But
versatility. I'll take this. Versatility. Go ahead.
No, you finished that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think in general, versatility in the NFL is like the hottest commodity, dude. If you can be versatile, if you can do multiple things well to help the team, then you're always giving yourself a better chance to be somebody who's an impact player.
100%. And so playing offensive tackle, I know in the NFL you have to grind so hard. I'm sure you're watching a ton of film, and I'm just wondering, when you do sit down and you're trying to learn something new, is there like a few guys you watch around the league? And I would like to know who those guys might be.
Yeah, so somebody I mean, obviously besides the guys who are playing, I'll get to them in a second. But somebody that I looked up to, or two guys that I looked up to, were Joe Thomas and Joe Staley.
Yeah.
And so these guys, again, very athletic, but I think Joe Staley was more of like a technician. He was going to set the same way. He was very good pass protection. But if you look at Joe Staley is like a very athletic tackle. If you look at him now, I don't know the last time you guys saw this guy, but he's like 250, looking lean. He might join a bodybuilding competition or something soon. Guys look good, man. But he was very athletic tackle, and so I appreciated that, because that's my skill set too, is that I know I have natural aptitudes when it comes to being fast and athletic. So I wanted to watch somebody who could have that skill set, but still tailor it to such like a big physical, brute kind of position as offensive tackle specifically. And he was somebody I watched a lot, and I still watch a lot. I actually got to train with him in the off season, and He's been a gem, honestly, a gem just to listen to him and the way he approaches the game and stuff. So he was somebody I really watched. But there's a lot of guys in the league, obviously, right now you can watch. I talk to Garrett a lot because Garrett's like my boy, just so y'all know. It's like family to me.
Yeah.
And I think that I got to watch Garrett in 2020. The preparation for that season, this started a lot way before the season started. But when we went to train together at the beginning of 2020, and I watched how he approached what he was going to do for that year, and I think that helped me more than most other things that I've done in my preparation. Getting to see him go from, okay, I know this is what I've been doing for years, but now I'm about to make this huge transition so that I can make a big leap in my play on the field. And I mean, just watching him, what he did in the offseason and how it translated to what he did on the field was really helpful because, again, Garrett's very athletic tackle, athletically gifted. You know what I mean? He's strong and fast and stuff, but he's very athletic. And so that's kind of his skill set too. So, you know, that helped me a lot because we trained together. So we were able to learn things about our play together kind of as he was growing, I was growing too. So, you know, it was really helpful for me, especially being a young tackle. I didn't really have it. He was like the guy who kind of put me under his arm and said, like, let me kind of help you and walk you through this and show you what it's like. So, you know, that's been helpful to me. But, yeah, I think that Joe Staley is somebody I really still watch to this day, still watching his film, especially now that we're in the outside zone scheme, about how he approached getting off the ball and then taking his sets, how he approached different rushers. Did he change the way he shot his hands or did he change the way he set? Did he set flatter against a faster rusher? Whatever. So stuff like that. So he's been really helpful personally, but then also his film speaks for itself, and I've watched a lot of it.
Yeah, it's been awesome watching him grow. Garrett Bowles is a Bronco. From the time he was drafted to where he is now, just his play has been awesome, and I know a lot of Broncos fans appreciate him. Bree, I think Bree has some rapid fire questions here. So what we're gonna do? All right. So these are just some are gonna be yes, no. Some are gonna just be like you're just gonna say it off the top of your head, but rapid fire. And this is how we're gonna wrap up the show.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up the show. We wanted to thank you so much for taking this time. We don't want to take too much more of it, but we had a couple of fun ones for you, so we did want to get to those. Thank you again. So we wanted to know, you know, if you had dedicated yourself to tennis, what would be your ATP rank today?
Good question. I think I would be top 150 or top 120. My granddad was a professional tennis player. I played tennis. He was the first sport I ever learned, so I love tennis. Sad I stopped playing in high school, but I mean, it worked out. I chose football, and you know, here I am. But I love tennis. Still love tennis.
You're doing pretty well.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well with that choice. But if you hadn't chose football and maybe tennis didn't work out, what would have been the ideal profession?
So I actually, when I was at Rice, I was studying mathematical economics because I thought I was going to go into investment banking. So had I not thought football was going to be a serious opportunity for me, that's what I was going to pursue. Now that I've lived a little bit more life, I wouldn't choose that same path. But I think that's probably what I would have started doing. So that's what I probably would have done out of college because that's what I was preparing to do.
Awesome. That's incredible. Which member of the offensive line has the best or worst style? Or best and worst style? I think you have to answer both.
I actually think Billy has pretty good style, man, because Billy has like his own clothing line. So I didn't know about this because I wasn't here obviously when Billy was here last, but he wore some of his stuff one day. I was like, yo, like, did you make this stuff yourself? He was like, yeah, he's got his own clothing line. So yeah, Billy always comes with something fresh on. So I would say Billy has some really good style. Who has the worst style? That might be a tough question to answer. Maybe one of the rooks.
Yeah, this is one of those. If you answer right, you have to hear about it in the locker room.
You got me. Yes.
We definitely won't clip it and put it on the internet. Speaking of the members of your O-line, who is the best or worst cook?
Best or worst cook? So Ben Braden is really good at barbecuing, but so is Garrett. Garrett's actually really good on the Traeger too, and then so is Dalton. We have a lot of guys who can cook pretty well actually. Moody can cook a good steak too.
Yeah,
I feel like it's easier for me to say all the guys who can cook because a lot of guys can cook. I can cook too myself, but these are guys who are like really good. I know that are really good, make a good steak, make some good meats and vegetables and stuff on the grill. So I know all those guys can cook really well.
Okay, awesome. This one is, I think, my personal favorite. What wins in a fight? 100 owl-sized longhorns or one longhorn-sized owl? So I'm going to say 100 owl-sized longhorns. And disclaimer, that doesn't mean I support Rice more than Texas or Texas more than Rice. Nobody listening, don't take
Don't take it in anyway. Yeah, I think 100 outsized Longhorns wins that easily, actually.
Awesome. I love it. And then can you give us a story about one of your teammates that we don't already know?
A story that you don't know. Tell one
What
of my
got
teammates.
what got Garrett sick
Yeah.
before the Panthers game?
Oh, okay. I guess I could talk about this. So me and Garrett, usually on the road games, me and Garrett always hang out. We'll go eat, or like we'll either order in, but we're always hanging out. Like we'll go over film together and watch the games from the night before. So we went to eat at this place. It was like a normal food place, but I feel like it was something about this food place that caused Garrett to be sick. I don't know if it was what he ordered, or if they just didn't make good food or something. I think it had something to do with the food we ate the night before. I didn't get sick, obviously, so it wasn't just the restaurant. Maybe it was like the specific thing he ordered, but that was a mess. I felt really bad, but then obviously I held it down for my dog, and he was really
Yep.
happy for me. But yeah, it sucked. I know he was mad about his streak getting snapped, so I hated that for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just wanted to thank you one more time for taking the time to join
Seriously.
us here for Let's Talk Broncos. I want to respect that you're
Thank
a
you,
busy
Calvin.
guy. You want to get back to everything else. The Avalanche are going to start soon. Do you have anything you want to say to everybody listening at home? Anything you want to plug? Please feel free to do so, but this is your time, and then I'll release you back into the wild.
Look, all I'm going to say, I can't wait for the season. I can't wait for what we're going to do for Broncos Country. Hopefully we can put on some really good shows for you guys to watch on Sunday. And as far as me, just wait.
There you go.
Just wait.
Good to see it. Thank you so much, Calvin. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, guys.
thank you, Calvin.
Thank you. Bye. Oh my
was fun.
goodness, y'all. What an incredible show. If you tagged along for the entire thing, we can't thank you enough. And I just wanted to throw a couple of comments on the screen. Zach's taking care of that for me right now. I appreciate that so much. We're going to go ahead and we're going to end this right now so we can get everybody to their final destinations. I just want to say, go Avalanche, go. Let's see how the Stanley Cup final game goes. Thanks to Joey and Zach for everything tonight. And above all else, thank you to Calvin Anderson. Shout out to Mile High Mario. Thank you, my bro. We appreciate you. We love you. And everybody, have a great night. And most importantly, I think we just have to say, go Broncos.